I had some leftover material from my reaming of YouTube race hustler Information Man, so I figured I would go ahead and punch this video out so that I could move on. As such, this will probably be my last video on him, unless he publishes a new video rife with falsehoods and misconceptions. Okay, there'll probably be more Information Man takedowns in the future. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
Okay, take her away, Information Man. Due to integrity and scholarship, what this man here in the picture is going to do to his victim.
See, this is the thing that people are not realizing here. Carmelo Anthony told the police officer, which he should have never said anything to the police officer because he had the right to remain silent under the Miranda rights. And the cop, knowing that he was a minor when he came up on him, should have told him, you have the right to remain silent.
All you Carmelo Anthony supporters had better get used to hearing Carmelo's own words being used against him in a court of law, because that evidence is absolutely admissible. Even if Texas had a special law for minors, and I can't find it anywhere, Carmelo was 17. Under Texas law, he was considered an adult. He's not a minor being tried as an adult. He's an actual adult. That whole adult being an 18-year-older, that's federal. Each state has the right to set its own age limit. Now, this isn't entirely Information Man's fault. He trusted the legal wisdom of a certain Reverend Augustus Corbett, who must have received his law degree by peeling the label off a pint of Old Crow whiskey.
Before he started saying anything to the police officer, because it can be used against you in court. And this is definitely a fact, everybody. But Carmelo Anthony admitted in the situation that, hey, I did the stabbing. He didn't run. He didn't try to hide away. He was there, and he took on the situation straight up with the police, asking him questions. And just like my man from Defiant Lawyer, who I did a video on this channel.
Defiant Lawyer is Reverend Augustus Corbett, and I do have a video on him in my Loco Lawyers playlist.
Said that the cop was wrong not to give him proper Miranda rights immediately.
Wrong. There'll come a time when Information Man figures this out. For the rest of you, let me explain that cops don't have to read your Miranda warning, not rights, warning, unless they are questioning you. Carmelo gave up his testimony voluntarily. He wasn't questioned. And by the way, Carmelo did run from the scene of the crime. Not very far, but he did run. He fled the location of the stabbing, and he can do that. If you commit a crime, you're not obligated to stay there for the police to come and arrest you. We heard that with the Kyle Rittenhouse dealio. Kyle fled the scene of the shooting. So what? People hear this fleeing the scene of an accident and they think that it applies to all crimes. No, that's just a traffic code violation. There is no law that punishes you for leaving the scene of a crime. Now, I'm calling it a crime, but we all know that Carmelo is innocent until proven guilty. The jury will decide whether a crime was committed or not. Now, for the next few minutes, he gushes over Carmelo's academics, essentially telling us that he's a melanated Werner von Braun. You know the routine. As for Austin, nary a mention of his academics, but it looks like he made the A honor roll for his football team and he claimed a 3.97 GPA on his personal social media account. Whatever. Like, do you get to stab someone if you have better grades than him? Is that how this works? So let's skip ahead.
People expect black people to live in squalor. They expect us to live in the projects. They expect us to be like the show Good Times, where everything goes bad for us. They were living in trash. We're living in the dilapidated housing.
But I thought that was BLM's argument. Okay.
And so they don't live in that type of way. So therefore, oh, these black folks are running a scam. And then we even got black folks that are pushing these narratives that I'm going to get into tonight that are not necessarily true. Because I think we hate one another. We're quick to hate on one another. But nobody's questioning about how Jeff Metcalf and his family is living, how many cars they have.
Well, they're not begging for donations. That might have something to do with it. But I will agree with Information Man on this point. It is silly to get fixated on the GoFundMe issues. If people want to give their hard-earned money to the Anthonys, that's their business. If the Anthonys want to blow it on a lawyer or a carnival cruise, that's between them and the donors. I find it odd that he's complaining about the pushback that Carmelo is getting over the fundraising, when in fact he was probably at the forefront of complaining about Kyle Rittenhouse's fundraising, even though Kyle was in fact living in squalor and in fact needed far more money than Carmelo did.
We know that Austin Metcalf got stabbed. I'm not denying that.
Let's be more clear. Austin got stabbed fatally. And he didn't just get stabbed. Let's use the active voice. Carmelo Anthony stabbed him to death. That's what happened.
I've said it a bunch of times that I think it's a horrible thing. I wish it never happened. I wish that Carmelo Anthony never did this because...
Sorry, I was a little harsh on him. Because he's clearly going to explain how it ended the life of a young man who bled to death in his twin brother's arms. Right?
He's looking at doing some serious time in prison if he loses the case.
Nope. It's all about the horrible things that can happen to Carmelo. Austin? Poof.
And if it comes out in the wash that the video doesn't work in his favor, whatever video they've got that they've collected from people's cell phones, then he will go to jail. But right
doesn't work in his favor? You mean if it turns out that the video shows that Carmelo murdered Austin? Is that what you meant to say?
Right now, until we see all the evidence, the young man said that he was defending himself because they were messing with him. And that's the first thing he said to the police when the police approached him.
And he's right. If you look up Texas's law on self-defense, it states, Section 9.31, self-defense. A person is justified in using force against another, and to the degree the actor reasonably believes the force is immediately necessary to stop the others messing with him. Messing with him? Really? Carmelo had better pull something much stronger than that out of his ass if he has any prayer of acquittal.
In a case like this, in law, the only way you get a court-appointed lawyer given to you is that you must prove that you meet the criteria of being indolent.
Indolent? Okay, perhaps he meant indolent, meaning lazy. Well, I guess that would explain why they have no money. Okay, let's be serious. He meant to say indigent. So why bag on him? He made some silly mistake. I mean, it could happen to anyone. Lighten up.
Meaning you have no money. You cannot afford your own counsel. Or there is no private counsel who's volunteering to help you. So when you end up being seen as indolent,
okay, never mind.
And the courts will appoint one. You have to go through a process. So if this was true, they would have to go through a process that the court would have to approve for such a situation. And so people are just out here on social media, flying off at the mouth, saying things that are not true, just like claiming that there's a video that proves that he was the aggressor, when already you have legitimate journalists who have seen the video and said, you can't see shit. Y'all hear where I'm saying? Y'all hear where I'm going with this? Hit 7.
By the way, he's actually right. The journalist that did see the video shown by the school district claimed that it was very grainy and hard to figure out what was going on. Why has the school district refused to allow people, the public, to see it? It's because it shows the murder of one of its students. Of course, they're not going to just turn it over to YouTube. That video will be given to the prosecution and it will be shared with the defense. There's no cover up. And no one is going to doctor the video. That's stupid. Not even possible.
In the chat room, we're about to get out of here. I thank everybody for being here tonight. Peace and blessing to you.
If you ever see me having to put on a applause track, just unsubscribe to my channel because it's over.
I mean, I just want to keep it real with y'all. Okay. Once again, it's a shame that this happened. It was a crime. When you stab somebody, that's considered a crime, right? It's considered a crime.
Well, no, it's not considered a crime. Carmelo is being accused of committing a crime. The jury will decide whether he committed the crime or not. If they render a not guilty verdict, no crime was committed.
Carmelo Anthony is being indicted as an adult now. I remember I talked about that in my previous video, that they are going to try him as an adult. And in Texas, they do that often, where they will try you as an adult in these situations when you are 17.
Yeah, it happens in Texas quite often, as in every time. Again, people think that the definition of an adult being 18 is universal. A state can define an adult at nearly any age, although if they try to go too young with it, the Supreme Court will step in. So take your boo-hoo-hoo, they're trying Carmelo as an adult out of here. You didn't express any such sympathy when Kyle Rittenhouse was being tried for a shooting that he committed at 17.
And then now he's 18. So he's going to be under heavy, heavy charges as an adult. Once again, I hate that this whole thing happened. I wish none of this happened. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. It's about telling the truth.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth, the reals. We're getting real here. The facts, truth bombs, all the same crap that race hustlers always throw out. This is called truth by blatant assertion. If I say that it's the reals, the truth, the facts loud enough, it makes it true somehow.
From Last Call, from Empress, from Bill Gates, dude using the N-word has a AS charge or something. Right. And I played, check this out. If you came into the show a little late, please replay this back. I got the receipt on that. That was on TikTok. I played it several times to drive home the point of his character. I drive home the point that Jeff Metcalf has definitely showed his racism, showed his white supremacy. He showed it. So
You have yet to verify that it was even Jeff. And who cares? Jeff isn't on trial. He's not a witness. He's not a victim. He could be the Imperial Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, and it wouldn't have any bearing on this case. Not admissible in court. It wouldn't even be admissible if it was Austin speaking those words through a seance spirit medium. But the father? And suppose Drew Anthony, Carmelo's dad, had done something like this. Had gone on a podcast and made all kinds of horrible, horrific remarks. It still makes no difference. The judge won't allow the jury to hear it. It has zero probative value and far too much prejudicial stigma. The jury will weigh evidence on whether you committed the acts that form the elements of the crime. Those elements are listed in the state statutes. One of those elements is not, the accused is a good dude raised by a good family, or the father of the accused is a real dirtbag. So at this point, I have 60 videos on the Carmelo Anthony case. And unlike Information Man, I at least try to get my facts straight. And sure, I could have 10 times the number of subscribers if I tried to appeal to those who don't mind being lied to. My subscribers do mind, especially that Anders Weinstein character that keeps finding mistakes in my videos. I'm joking. I actually really appreciate people like Anders who come in and let me know when I've made a mistake, because the last thing I want to do is spread lies and falsehoods. And when I have mistakes in my videos, it's a little embarrassing, so I like to be warned about them. And many times when I find out that I have a mistake, I'll pull it down or I'll edit it, because I have a responsibility to my listeners. And this man has no such ethics. Like my video and subscribe to my channel.